All right, so I'm Ryan Brown here at the Cinemad House. I'm with Donovan Patton. You might recognize him as Joe from Blue's Clues.
You might.
Uh,
This guy. Proof. Somebody can hold a picture. It could be anybody.
yeah,
No, but it really is. He's not kidding you.
there's no deep fakes here. We don't do deep fakes. So how's GalaxyCon Richmond been for you so far?
And super enjoyable. Everybody's been incredibly nice, and I've had a great time so far. Yeah.
All right, so obviously we're going to talk about Blue's Clues. It's what did kind of bring you to the forefront of everyone's mind. So when you were first getting cast in the role, what was that process like when you were going for auditions?
Oh, well, my very first audition, I was waiting tables in a restaurant on 2nd Avenue and 50th Street in New York. You could still go there. It's called Pescatore. Ding! Basically, I was working a double, so I had a morning shift, and then I ran to my audition across town. It's not easy to do. At my lunch, basically. And that was my very first audition. And then, I don't know, there were 4 or 5 auditions. It just kept happening. It was fun.
So when you arrived and you were all sweaty, were you like, just pardon that, I have a double that I'm working, I need to pay bills?
Actually, I specifically remember what shirt I was wearing, because it was a shirt made basically out of my wife tells me to say terry cloth, but I say towel cloth. It was a towel shirt, so even if I was sweating, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, the towel would have just had it.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite
You
shirts.
should turn that shirt into a pillow, like a commemorative pillow, so you have it forever now.
I don't know. There's too much armpit in that shirt.
So, when you were taking over for Steve, he's also here. Steve Burns is here, the one and only, the original host for Blue's Clues. What was that process like, taking over and getting to learn under his wing?
Oh, it's fantastic. He's I don't know. I actually didn't learn until later just how nice he is. But he was really, really cool with me because he got me to really think about what the host's role is in the whole process. Because there's several different things, from all the writing, the directing, tons of animation. There's a million different people involved in making Blue's Clues. And, but our job is very, very specific. From Steve, me, Josh, and then, the guys that do it internationally. It's a very, very specific thing, and he wanted to just really talk to me about all the rhythms, and he's like, you got to decide for yourself, who your friend is when you're acting, because it's just you in a room with a bunch of lights and a camera. But so that's the art of it, is essentially knowing who your friend is.
Yeah.
And,
So obviously Blue's Clues came around 96. You took over. I think your episode started airing in 2002. There wasn't any CGI, and if there was, it was pretty rough. So what was it like having to work around not being able to even envision a green box that would eventually turn into blue on a green screen or something?
Well, what was cool about the technology then, because it was simpler than it is today. Now things happen. They're so quick. When we're working with Josh on Blue's Clues and You, I'm always amazed that they're like, oh yeah, we can do that. We can work with that. When it comes to green screen stuff, there were some things that they basically had to carve into specific shapes to get the framing exact, and so it did look something closer to an object in real space. For example, you had the curve of a side table drawer. There were certain objects that I would have to interact with that really didn't have at least partially the shape of the object and how it would look in real life.
All right, and in your opinion, on the original run, Joe episodes or Steve episodes?
Joe, all day. No, this is a fun fact. Even my daughter said, I want to watch that show, but with Steve.
But with Steve?
Yeah.
So wait, did she get any extra ice cream that night for dessert, or were you like, no dessert tonight?
Well, I'm one of those actors where I don't need to look at my own face and hear my own voice all the time. So when the Steve episodes were on, it made me a little happy too.
All right, and I think we're Clues and You. It's definitely been a great revival. I think it's probably been even more successful, or just as successful as the original show.
Yeah.
Getting to come back for it, what was that process like when they said, hey, Donovan, we've got this idea, we want to come back, we've got a new host, but we want you and Steve on board with it as well?
Oh, I would do anything I jumped through a brick wall to work with these guys. It was super, super fun. And I've been able to write on a few episodes. I did some co-writing with a wonderful writer named Caitlin Hodson, and I was able to direct a few episodes. And yeah, so I really got to grow a little bit with the new iteration of the show. It's been really, really fun. And Josh is insanely talented, so it's super fun to work with.
All right, and just a couple more questions for you. Of your non-Blues Clues roles, what has been your favorite so far?
So my non-Blues Clues, every role is different. There's something to like in all of them. I do a lot of voiceover, and so, whether it be working on something like Clarence. Right now I'm working on Gabby's Dollhouse, doing a guy named the Cat Rat. He's super fun. How did you not like a voice like that? You know, and so like I find a little bit of joy in whatever role.
All right, and my last one for you is, what's your best piece of advice you can give to anyone that's watching the interview?
You got to live life like you mean it. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, successes, failures. If you know you're trying for something and it might be taking a little longer than you think it might, or you might have some setbacks, or you might feel like you've actually failed. Guess what? There's no failure. There's just you doing the best you can as often as you can. And if it like hurts a little bit sometimes, that means you mean it, and that's good. So that way, when it works and when it's successful and you get filled up with joy, that means you mean it too. So I'd say live life like you mean it.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.